Hello and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm a homeschool coach and homeschooling mom of twin boys. I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about tips and strategies for being a happy and thriving working homeschool mom that you can implement in your life too. I also speak to awesome and inspiring women who manage to juggle homeschooling and work successfully and find out what their secrets are. Be sure to check out my Working Homeschool Mom Time Audit and Mindset Challenge in the show notes, and sign up to my newsletter for lots of cool homeschool freebies. And if you ever need to chat, please book in a session with me. I would really love to support you in any way that I can. I'm so happy for you to be here, and I hope you'll get so much value out of this episode. So let's get started. Hi there. I hope everybody's well. I'm really excited about today's episode because it's something really, really important that I know a lot of homeschoolers struggle with, and that's how to homeschool your reluctant learner. So I'm speaking from experience because I have been homeschooling a reluctant learner. In fact, I've been homeschooling two reluctant learners, and I have lost my cool at times because after all, I'm only human. And it can be hard to be enthusiastic when you're met with constant resistance. But I also want to let you know that it's possible to break through if you're patient, consistent, and calm. And also if you're open-minded. I think it's very important to be open-minded. And I'll share with you why in this episode. Okay, so the first thing that you should do, in my experience, when you are faced with a reluctant learner is to deschool. And then deschool, and then deschool some more. So deschooling is something I believe very, very deeply in. And it is something that has helped us so much with homeschooling. Deschooling is especially important if you're at the beginning of your homeschooling journey, because your child is going to need some time to adjust to the new normal. Even if school was bad, or they had a traumatic experience at school like ours did, they still need a time to adjust. And it might even take longer than you think. So, for example, we deschooled for almost a year and a half, and we have done it subsequently as well. So in some cases, it might even be an ongoing process. But I have to say that it's always very effective. You just have to trust the process. Before you know it, the kids will be ready to learn, and they will let you know that they're ready to learn. So deschooling is the perfect opportunity to find out what actually works for your kids, because this could also be the issue, is that they are maybe not enjoying what they're learning, or it's too difficult, or it's too easy for them. So deschooling is the time to find this out, to figure this kind of thing out, and to find out what they like, what they don't like, how they like to learn, when they like to learn, what they like to learn. And if you give them lots of fun and engaging learning activities, and observe them, you're going to find out so much information about their learning styles. Deschooling is also important for you as a parent, almost more important, I would say, because most of us have gone through school, so we have to kind of break or escape the indoctrination of school, and so that we can open our minds to be open to new ways of learning, because there are so many different ways of learning now. And there's so many more possibilities for teaching your kids and for your kids to learn. You just have to be open, and they might seem strange to you. So that's why you need to be open-minded. Deschooling is important to figure out how you're going to fit everything into your day. And this is important because maybe your kids are also resistant because they feel pressurized, or because they feel like, I know sometimes I can get impatient if I have something to do. So it's very important for me to make sure that I know exactly what my schedule is going to be. And that's also important, is to figure that out when you start, so that homeschooling can be homeschooling time, but that you still do have enough time to fit everything that you need to into the day. So something that might be a little bit strange is to kind of try and reward your children. So I know there's a school of thought that believes that children should do things because they want to and not because they're being rewarded. And in principle, I think this is awesome. I'm a big proponent of delight-directed learning, for example, but some children are just not wired that way. So, for example, my neurodiverse kids can be resistant as a default setting, even if they're interested in something. So they need to be praised and rewarded for doing schoolwork and chores And it gives them the motivation to get started and to realize or to find new things that they will enjoy. So I don't think it's such a bad thing all the time, and it's definitely worked for us. Another thing to do is to really lean into flexibility. I think generally flexibility is one of the most important elements of a successful homeschool. This flexibility can come in lots of different forms. So, for example, finding resources or curricula. And this could take some time and some money and some jumping around. But it's important to be flexible, so to not double down on something because you've spent a lot of money on it, or to choose something because somebody else is choosing it. Just to be really flexible. Maybe your kids will learn in an entirely different way. Maybe they like workbooks over online or online over workbooks. I mean, these are the things you need to figure out, and what is the best way to engage them or how they like to learn. Flexibility also means the schedule or the rhythm of how you homeschool. And obviously, like I said, you need to include yourself in this. Otherwise, you're not going to have a successful homeschool at all, especially if you're a working homeschool mom. So, for example, we homeschool 4 days a week and we homeschool year round. But when we need time off or days off, we take it because we do a lot of homeschooling, or because homeschooling is very consistent. So being flexible with your hours can be really, really useful, because then you can figure out how to really fit everything in the day. And this might change as well. So to be flexible to the change, to really lean into flexibility, means being willing to change if necessary. And flexibility also means, like I said, being open to all the kinds of different ways that your kids may learn. Things that may seem foreign to you, or things that you've never experienced. They might do everything online like my kids do. My kids like to learn online. That's the best way for them. They don't like to write, so they don't like workbooks or anything like that. Or your kids might be different and might prefer really a lot of hands-on activities. So it's just important to be open and to also give them all the possibilities, all the options to try, and to not get worried or annoyed if they want to change. Another awesome thing about flexibility is that it really allows your kids to deep dive into subjects or skills. This allows them to master something, and this is what is often missed at school. You end up doing lots and lots and lots of different subjects, but you don't deep dive into anything, or you are not allowed to spend as much time as you would like on something. So I think this is how good careers are made, is the mastery of something. And if you allow the flexibility to do this, then you can also engage your child like that, and they might also be less resistant or reluctant. Scheduling creatively is also definitely something that will help a reluctant learner. So some kids like to start later, some kids like to start very early, like mine. I know how scary homeschooling is in the beginning, and you want somebody to tell you exactly what to do and at what time. And I hear you, because I was there too. I would look for schedules and things like that constantly on Pinterest, or see what other people were doing. But looking back, I can safely say that finding your own unique path is the way to go. And this includes your own schedule that is perfect for you and your family, especially if you're a working homeschool mom. So a lot of my podcast guests swear by block scheduling. So this takes the pressure of having to tick millions of tasks off every day. And in this way, kids get to go at their own speed. And the pace of learning is much more natural and flowing. And for working homeschool moms, it also trains you to be really intentional and efficient with your time. What I like to do as well, so I kind of do block scheduling and also goals as well, which work really well for my kids, because it allows them to take ownership of their learning and the chores that they have to do. So we usually set about 5 or 6 goals a day. So it's not too much for them or for me to manage. And I put the goals up somewhere where they can see, and they get crossed off during the day. And I think this is vital for keeping them involved in their learning. And they can also see progress, which is rewarding in itself. Lastly, I would say the most important thing about homeschooling a reluctant learner is that if things are just not working, if there's so much resistance, if there's so much reluctance, then I would just say stop what you're doing. I can tell you from experience, and from the experiences of, I would have to say, all my podcast guests, that forcing and pushing just does not work. So doubling down on something because you're afraid of not doing enough, or scared of missing a day, or worried that you're doing something wrong, or that there's something wrong with your child, or that you're wasting money because you've spent a lot of money in a particular curriculum. This is going to create a reluctant learner. So if you can rather take some time off, and if your kids are old enough, you can together think of a better way forward. Because when you're coming from a place of frustration, anger, and exhaustion, you're not going to be able to find a good solution or to even see the problem clearly. So taking some time off, some days or even weeks is absolutely, totally okay. It'll be worth it in the long run. And then once you're able to see the situation more objectively, you can find a way forward. You can see what's not working. You can see why it's not working. And then you can rethink and regroup and start again. So you're basically crafting a homeschool experience for your children and for yourself. And this is an ongoing process. So I hope this podcast episode was useful because, like I said, I know a lot of people struggle with this. If you ever need any help, just reach out. I'd be more than happy to chat and to help you to set some goals and to see where you would like to go with your homeschool. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Drop me a DM on Instagram or post on the Working Homeschool Moms support group over on Facebook and let me know what resonated the most with you. It would also be great if you could rate, review, and subscribe, or share the podcast with a working homeschool mom who might need it. It's my mission to support as many working homeschool moms as possible. Until next time, take care. Hello and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast.